Hey guys, welcome back to Mafia on Tap. Cheers. And it's where we talk to you every week about a former member of the Mafia, going through their criminal life, their relationship with the Mafia, the FBI, and their takedown, and their ultimate reflection on their criminal life. So today, on today's episode, we'll be talking to you about Dominic Cicciale, and here's a picture of him, and Anthony Hootie Russo.
Today's episode is very special because Dominic was actually a captain and a hitman of the Banana crime family, which is one of the big five crime families in New York. Well, Hootie wasn't even a May guy, but he was treated like one in the big Mafia takedown as he was associated with the Gambinos. And for context, a big Mafia takedown was a trial where 127 people associated with the Mafia, made or not, were arrested and tried. So without further ado, let's jump. Hi, I'm Eli, and I will be talking about Dominic Cicciale, and Jordan will be talking about Anthony Hootie Russo. So for Dominic Cicciale, he is a former captain and hitman for the Banana family, which is one of New York's main five criminal mafia families. And according to his own words, his life in crime began early when he was selling drugs as a teenager, which eventually led to his first prison sentence, which only drove him deeper into the mafia world. He claims that this pushed him further into the world by involving him into the Banana family, but over time he rose through the ranks of the family, getting deeper and deeper into the crime world and eventually becoming a captain. However, at one point when he was arrested, he decided that he would cooperate with the law enforcement, which would end up being a decision that changed his life.
Alright, so as Eli mentioned before, I'm Jordan. I'll be going over Anthony Hootie Russo's life. So, starting off at his early childhood, he grew up with both his parents were from Sicily. They were immigrants, and he grew up very poor in Queens. So this first introduction to crime started off when he was 11 years old, where he got introduced to drug dealing of little LSD caplets that he claimed he would put into a ballpoint pen or any click pen, and would store him in there and put him inside, put it in his ear. So that's how he would hide it and stuff like that. But his first introduction to the Mafia, though, centered around drugs again, but it was around when he was 14 years old. Now, his father despised the Mafia, whereas his mother glorified it. So he had a very two-sided relationship with the Mafia, where he ended up leaning more towards his mother's view of it, where it was the lifestyle that he wanted, but he actually never ended up becoming a made man, and the reason being is because he was always known as a drug dealer on the street, and the Mafia didn't like that, so they never wanted to make him. But he was passed over, and I think 2005 is what he said, but yeah. So he ended up just staying associated his whole time with the Mafia. But he never was a hitman, never did any kills. He was mainly a drug dealer and would sometimes give them money or favors or sell them their drugs for them. But so how he started off with the Mafia, though, or being associated with them, is he started answering to a man called Ronnie One Arm, who was an Albanian. Now, he actually didn't know this getting into it, but it was just an interesting fact. So another funny story, or not funny story, but another drug-related story that he mentions in a podcast by VLAD TV, was that he snuck into Mexico when he was younger and tried to get a connect with the cartels so that he could start selling big amounts of drugs to people in New York, like cocaine. And he ended up going with $50,000 in his pocket and walked out with 1 kilogram. But from what he gained from this was that he knew he was out of his league down there, and yeah. So his first initial serious arrest came from when he started selling Vicodin, which was a prescription drug, and he started off selling 7,000 capsules a day that he got from some guy who owed money to the Gambino crime family, and the guy wasn't actually able to get the money back, so he said he could give the Vicodin to the Gambino crime family for free so that they can sell it and make all the money back. So the family reached out to Hootie Russo so that, because they didn't want to actually touch the drugs, they just wanted the money from it, and he was a drug dealer, so he did this favor for them and started getting the money back for them. So his first serious arrest, though, came from selling these drugs after he started selling around 27,000 capsules, because he became the main guy, or so he thought he was. And he pretty much just got a call from the distributor one time that he wanted to meet up and give him more. So instead of actually meeting up somewhere, the distributor came to his house, handed him a blue bag, and the cops were in the corner somewhere with a cam recording him, and he ended up getting 2 years with no bail. So that was kind of his first serious arrest, and after that he went clean off the drugs and started bookkeeping. But shortly after he got out, he got swept into the big Mafia takedown, which, as we mentioned before, was a big Mafia trial, RICO case, where 127 mob members were convicted. It's kind of a lot.
So for Dominic Sakale, here's where it really gets interesting. Sakale eventually ends up cooperating with the feds. He starts ratting out the guys he used to work with, the bosses, the capos, and the whole inner circle. Now you can imagine how dangerous that was. People don't just forgive a guy for snitching on the whole Mafia world. Goes against the omerta, can't do that. But he says it wasn't about getting out of prison, it was about survival, and finally seeing a way out of the Mafia-related world, and getting out of that life. But here's a clip of him talking about that.
And that was the hardest decision I had to make in my life, was tell on my best friend, my brother. And till this day, I would love to see him come home. I know it would probably be, I would definitely have to look over my shoulder constantly, but I don't want to see him die in prison. I care for the guy. That doesn't stop, but it came to self-preservation at the end of the day. And I did what I had to do.
As we just saw and listened to him talk, you can almost feel the weight of fear, pressure, and guilt all at once. It's like he's walking a thin line between his past and a chance at a new future. All in the wild part, he doesn't hide it at all. He's completely open about what he did, who he helped, who he put away, and what he said to the feds, which isn't something you see every day in the Mafia world because of the omerta.
So, as Eli mentioned before, Dominic was a informant. Now, for my guy, Anthony Hootie Russo, he was actually never an informant because he got roped into the big case of 127 members of the Mafia, the big Mafia takedown. So, where does he play in this? So, he pretty much just got charged with everything that everybody else was getting charged with, which was a RICO case. So, it falls with racketeering and stuff like that. Now, he didn't actually think he was going to be involved because he was just never involved. He was never around. And according to him and all the tapes and everything like that, he was never actually in the room speaking on any of the tapes that they had, but he was talked about, so that's how he got caught. Now, he was first off going to get charged as a career criminal, which means you get 20 years minimum, and you have never worked a real job in your life. You were just a criminal your whole life. Now, he thought it was bullshit because after his first serious indictment, he started working a real job with tax returns and working papers. So he was able to beat that with those documents. And then after that, he started getting roped into a bunch of different murders and hits that were not true in his words. So because of this, he wanted to hop off the global plea and just pretty much explain his side of the story to the FBI and cooperate with them. Now, he ended up getting 60 months, so 5 years. He just admitted to all his crimes and cooperated with them, and that's all the time he got. And then he got out, and that was it for him. Now, he doesn't consider himself a rat or a snitch, but rather a cooperator because he never really snitched on anyone. He just told his side of the story. So here is a clip of Hootie Russo talking about his time with the FBI and his indictment trial. So
I got a 5K1 letter.
Okay, so you talked to the feds, but you didn't technically cooperate.
Right. No, it's cooperating no matter what.
Okay, got it.
I don't know how anybody wants to look at that. It's cooperating. I would have called myself a rat. I would have considered myself not an informant, not a rat, but a cooperator, because I did go in and speak with them.
Okay.
However they want to justify it, I played queen for the day. I went in, I spoke to them. Regardless of what I spoke to them about, you're not supposed to speak to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Just plead the fifth. No, you're supposed to not say anything.
Not say anything.
Whatever they throw at you. But I wanted off the global plea, and I wanted to tell my side of the story.
Okay.
all right, so post jail and everything like that, Hootie Russo, from what I can tell, he doesn't seem to feel guilty or regretful of what he's done, but he does know what he's done. What he's done was bad and that it was criminal. So from what he says is that his ultimate goal, now that he's done with everything like that, is to pretty much get people out of that lifestyle and help as many young people out as he possibly can. Now, I do think that what he's doing is genuine. It doesn't seem like he's just using his name, he wasn't even a made guy, so not too many people even know about him, as he wasn't a part of the family. He just worked with the crew and stuff like that. So inside the podcast from VLAD TV, he also talked about a young man that he helped out and that he's very proud of. So I'll let you guys listen to that clip. But yeah, that's pretty much how he feels now post jail time and Mafia life. He totally doesn't support it in any way whatsoever now. And yeah.
People understand it. I mean, I have a guy here today with me. I wish we could introduce him. He's come such a long way. Bill Stacks. He was a gang member. He was going nowhere, recovering addict. And he turned his whole life around when he reached out to me. And he's like, I'm really proud of him. He's doing the right thing, and I take him everywhere with me. And anything I do on the Hootie platform, which there's a few people on it that I'm looking to help. And listen, I'm nobody to be preaching, but if I could take what I've gotten from what you just said and use it to help others to get out, then it was worth it. One person gets the message, what you're saying, yeah, it was worth sitting in them holes, eating that shitty food, being abused by guys that I wouldn't walk past and spit on if they were on fire. Absolutely. It was worth it.
And you said
For post-Mafia life for Dominic, he is going on a bunch of interviews and active on social media like Instagram, and he started up a cryptocurrency type thing where he is a self-proclaimed entrepreneur, and he wants you to buy his crypto. But his Instagram, he really only uses to post about his gym session that he just did, to show off, or to talk about his crypto and promote it. In his Instagram, he uses hashtags like hashtag Omerta, hashtag crime bosses, hashtag gangster stories, hashtag illegal enterprise, and hashtag mafia world, which all help him generate publicity. But his Instagram does not get too much publicity, and he averages about 60 likes per post, and his comments are filled with people calling him a rat from his informant days, which I'll show now.
Johnny, official CryptoNotion.com, folks. Go there. You know why? We don't play around.
So for the Instagram page of Anthony Hootie Russo, all I can say is that there is none. It looked like there might have been one in the past from research that we did, Hootie282, but clicking on the tag of it, the page is gone and not available anymore. So most likely he got taken off of Instagram. I don't know what the reasons were behind it, but who knows? So yeah, his only public presence now is on interviews and podcasts, where he pretty much talks about the same things, but just about like his criminal life and what he does now. So yeah.
All right, thank you guys for listening to Mafia on Tap on Dominic Cicale and Anthony Hootie Russo on their past Mafia lives, what they did, and what they're doing now, post-Mafia life.
So yeah, thanks again, guys. As you guys can see, two very different guys in the Mafia spectrum, but both heavily involved. Where Dominic was a captain of the Banana crime family, so very much involved in that sense. Where The opposite was Hootie, who was just an associate who did some favors in drug dealing. But, however, both arrested and could have faced very serious time in prison. And now trying to do their best to help out the younger generation and whatnot. So, yeah. Thank you again, and cheers. We're going to finish these now. Thank you for listening.